This is the Codcast. All things Whitby Town FC.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition and perhaps the most exciting edition of the Codcast as we look back on the final day of the season.
Cleethorpes get their first chance in the penalty area. Great save by Bland from Gibson Boone's effort there. Will be a corner. But again, Whitby caught out a little bit there. It was a header just across into the penalty area. Gibson Booth was quickest to it, but a very good save from Shane Bland. Reacted well there to push it wide. So corner to Cleethorpes then on this near side. It's Gallimore over to take it. Seeing the deliver his head towards the 6-yard box. 2 arms raised again, expect the save, and it is the same. Headed away at the near post by Jake Charles. Ball will come again though with Ainley. Swung into the penalty area, headed down. Oh, what a save from Bland! What a save from Bland on the line to turn it around the post. That was a good header there from, I think it was Hughes, and Bland just plucked it out in the bottom corner and pushed it wide. So ball then chipped towards penalty area by Leighton Watts Dawson with the header goal. Pushed wide by Ellenson. It didn't look like it was going to have much on it, that header. He just almost got caught out, Ellenson, but he pushed it wide for a corner to Whitby. Ball into the penalty area here, and then Collins has got to pin his man, but it's going to be picked up loose by Filthy over on that far side. Just forcing him as far to that byline as they can. Nelson just puts it out to play. We are staying up! Whitby have never been relegated, and we weren't going to make it happen again this year. 100 years of Whitby Town Football Club. We are staying up, and it's another one in the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Liam, thank God for that. It's been horrible, this whole match, this whole season's been horrible, but we've done it. That's the main thing.
That was all the action from Whitby Town against Cleethorpes Town. 0-0, but possibly the most tense and gut-wrenching 0-0 there's ever been, with saves galore from Shane Bland, desperate defending at both ends, and no doubt you might have heard in the commentary there a physically exhausted Paul Connolly and Liam Ryder from the Whitby Town media team on the mics for This is the Coast Extra, and also joining me for this edition of the Codcast. We spoke last week about what it was going to be like as we look back on that final weekend, and delighted to say that Whitby kept their MPL Premier status for a 29th season. Paul, how does it feel?
Yeah, you absolutely can't. You can't beat the feeling, can you? I think it was one of those. It was a long, tense sort of week. We managed to sort of, obviously I spoke with Liam about this as well, and we sort of managed to both occupy ourselves with work, thankfully, during the week, and then sort of Friday when it comes round, and you can see that obviously that game's on the horizon because you start to do all your preparation. It starts to get a little bit tense. And then, Saturday itself was just a long, horrible day up until about sort of 10 to 5 when that whistle went. But yeah, the feeling's obviously a great one. You know, it's not one that we want to be repeating really. It's not a situation I want to find us in again, quite frankly. But yeah, ultimately, when you're in the situation, you've got to enjoy the payoff of getting out of it as well, which is ultimately what the feeling was at 10 to 5 on Saturday.
Yeah, indeed. I was going to say, I mean, Friday night, we were all chatting together about the impending game, and not just yourselves, but also Neil Ince, I noticed as well, the goalkeeping coach, and a few other supporters as well were saying that they were struggling to sleep on that Friday evening. And I know you struggled as well, Liam, and obviously I know, no doubt you listening as well to the podcast might well have had the same situation, but Liam, you struggled, didn't you, to sort of wind down ahead of the match?
Just a tad, yeah. I mean, like we're saying to you two, it was one of those where, you know, you've got work in the week and it's a welcome distraction. But then, come Friday afternoon when you're finished, it suddenly just sinks in that, you know, we've got this massive game on the horizon. You know, you get sort of the FA Cup games about a couple of years ago where that was more the feeling of, yes, a bit of nervousness, but excitement as well. This one, there's no excitement attached to it. It's just sheer dread, I guess, that, you know, of what could happen. And as we all knew, it was one of those matches that, come 5 o'clock, we could all be, really happy and over the moon with how the match has panned out, or the opposite, be completely devastated that our proud record never being relegated is over in our 100th year as well. So yeah, I think it was just really that sort of, the unknown of what you're going to have that 24 hours later or whatever it is. But as it goes, it turned into a good day for us. A very nervous day, as expected. I mean, it was probably, I sort of said all week I'll take a boring 0-0. In the end, it wasn't really boring 0-0.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a nightmare, sort of from our point of view, real close moments. Thank goodness for Shane Bland, but he made that worldie of a save late on, a few more in the first half as well. But I think really what we asked was to see that endeavour from the team, that commitment, and I don't think you can really fault that from anybody that played yesterday. So it went well, albeit in a very nerve-wracking manner, seeing Prescott 2-0 up as well. But we got there, and that's the main thing. And certainly slept a lot better last night.
Indeed. So you're going to hear all sorts of these sort of interviews from people involved with Whitby Town FC in the aftermath of sealing our safety. Liam mentioned Shane Bland there and the amazing saves he made on Saturday. So who better to start with than Shane Bland, who spoke to Liam after the game.
Well, Blandy, it wasn't pretty. Not the first relegation final day survival battle for yourselves, but ultimately Whitby Town have done their job this afternoon with that 0-0 draw.
Yeah, job done. Speechless. It's been probably a tough 24 hours. I think personally, especially for fans, especially for Incy. I know he didn't sleep last night. But yeah, I think we've dug in so much today, and I think knowing that we needed just a point, we've managed to do that. And we had a couple of decent chances. Could have won we could have nicked one, but I think for me, I've had to do my job today. I've had to play a big part in the game, and yeah, I'm just so happy for the club. I really am. It's been on my mind all week. Been on my mind most of the season, if I'm honest. But yeah, personally, I'm just so happy that we've stayed up and we've got the job done.
Yeah, like you said, not just been tough on the pitch. You've had off the field problems, injury as well. It's been really troublesome all around on that front.
Yeah, I mean, got emotional in the changing rooms. Got emotional at the end there with Incy, and it's been a tough year. It really has. I mean, I've had to patch up at times. Been going through a lot personally, but yeah, I just think it's just brilliant that we've got the job done together, and it was just nice to share that moment at the end with the supporters. It just shows how much it means to them. Yeah, just really happy, superb.
Yeah, and I know that a few times some supporters may have questioned some of the attitudes of players, but once again today that couldn't really be questioned out there, because like you said, everybody put their bodies on the line.
Yeah, I think again, as I said on the Codcast earlier on in the week, it's including myself, we've all made individual errors in there, no doubt about it. But it's all about just taking responsibility, and I think today, even when someone did make a mistake or whatever, luckily we didn't get punished. But the attitude was right there today. We knew that we needed to keep the attitude right to get over the line, and it was more, not much bickering at each other. It was more encouragement, and just having that desire of just not conceding. We knew that. I mean, Denny said at half time that we keep a clean sheet, we get the result, we stay up, and that was the task. I think you can't, it would have been nice to win the game. It'd have been a better result, but we've got there. That's the main thing, and 100 years for the club. I'm just so happy that they're going to be in the NPL next season.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, that 100 years as well, just fitting it. It's now, that end of season, doing a couple of weeks' time can be a celebration rather than, reflecting on what's been good previously and a bit of a disastrous 100 year.
Of course. I think it was you know, it's great for the new secretary as well, to see that today, to see what he can work with for next season. But yeah, going on to the awards night, you know, if it was disaster today, it wouldn't have been the same. And you know, again with the 100 years celebration, it would have just been a bit of doom and gloom. But yeah, I'm just lost for words, Liam. I really am. I'm just absolutely buzzing that the club's, you know, being able to do this, and you know, the fans, the supporters, Bully, Denny, JK, Incy, Mark, Matty, you know, they've all got us over the line, and I can't be more thankful for them.
This is the Codcast.
Smith with the effort!
That is Shane Bland, man of the match and a very deserving choice. He's already been through the ringer this season, and incredible display on Saturday. I mean, that save. Do look on the highlights if you haven't seen it. The ball was basically behind him when he stuck out that left arm. I don't know how he managed to get the ball around the post, but you know it's an impressive save when you see the opposition supporters applauding, and even the players involved, the Cleethorpes players going up to high five him. I mean, that pretty much shows just how impressive that was. You don't see that very often. But also we spoke about supporters being through the ringer, us three, and also Mike Thommo Thompson. He was in South Africa, and I was on a WhatsApp contact with him, and he just said, please just keep talking to me. So I think he got worried if I went silent that something had happened, and we did that. It was almost like a kind of therapy group, and he sent us this voice note after full time.
So I'm stood here in the South African bush. I'm looking at kudus, I'm looking at impalas, but I'm also looking at Whitby Town staying in the division. And it should never have got to this stage, should it? We all know that. But you've got to give praise. Bullock, Kennedy, Ingram, they've done it. They've done it somehow. They'd have left us. He chose to go. That's it. That's his choice. We are Whitby Town fans, aren't we? It don't matter. We are staying up. And I tell you what, this is one of the best days watching Whitby Town, because it's been hard. We've lost a lot of players. We've lost some of our players in a relegation battle that have gone to other teams and kept them up. But I tell you what, everybody has worked hard to do it. And somehow we've got it. We've done it. Fantastic. Roll on next season, because it won't be as tough as this. Keep it going and up the Blues.
That's Thommo over in South Africa, and going through the ringer with us. There might have been a few time zones and a few hours of travelling between us, but yeah, we're all going through it as Whitby Town supporters, and also I think a Whitby Town supporter as well as one of Whitby Town's managers, Lee Bullock. He's been through the ringer too, and he caught up with Liam after the final whistle.
Well, Bully, it's been painful, excruciating, and all these other adjectives I could throw in there, but the ultimate aim is Whitby have done their job, they've stayed up, and that was the big message going into this one.
Yeah, that was 90 minutes of football I don't ever want to go through again, but the objective of today was to not get beat, come out of here with a point. If we can go and win the game, brilliant. But we asked them, they've done their jobs, and fair play to them, they've done what was needed to keep this football club in the division it's been in, and that 100-year celebration can be a little bit better now. So for today, to the players, well done. Really good hard work performance.
Yeah, and like you said, really the game and the quality of its secondaries, and it was just about getting at least a point, and did it in, and like you said there, just the players that you could see that they're all really giving it their all out there.
The game, obviously the result was all important, and they got the result. I can't even remember much of it. I know for a fact Shane's made 2 outstanding saves. One at the start of the first half when we were a little nervy, and he's made an unbelievable save from the header. So that probably makes up for his 500th game against FC where he made the mistake, because potentially there I know the lads have really done well, but he's kept 2 balls out his net there. That the second one was, everyone in the ground probably thought was a goal, so that was a massive moment for him.
Yeah, and like you said, some nervy moments in there, especially at the start. But to Will at time, Whitby on the whole, you'd say defended well as a unit, and two at the other end, they did start to grow into it and actually play some nice football at times.
Yeah, we did. We defended very well all over the pitch. From Charlo, centre forward, started it and it went right the way through. Frankie hasn't trained or kicked the ball since the game before Morpeth. He's done not a thing. But when we needed him today, and he's came in and he's played very well for 90 minutes. Gelly's off his deathbed, sat on the bench for us. Jarrett's struggling. A lot of lads done what they needed today for the football club, so that was pleasing. Obviously there's a lot happened to get us to this point, which isn't pleasing, but that's for us to sort out now as a football club. That's for another day. Today is about the success of keeping this football club in the league, and before I go out, like any single volunteer who's helped this football club this season, from all of us, myself, Jason, the lad, thank you so much. Every supporter who's came in, good crowd today, thank you. We will try and get better. We will strive to be better, and we need to win some home games. But when we get decent backing like we did today, there's a massive purpose behind it. So to all the fans, thank you, and to the volunteers, you know who you are. Without you, we're not here. And then the board who stumped the money up to get us out here. We've got to do better off the pitch, but we've definitely got to be better on it. And if I'm here, if Jason's here, if Denny's here, we'll work hard to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and like you said, things happen on and off the pitch across the course this season. But moving into that new campaign this summer, there's already signs of change, sort of in terms of personnel. It feels like it has potential to really be sort of hopefully a turning point for Whitby Town and much more positive moving forwards.
Hopefully it's got to, because that's probably as big a warning shot as you're ever going to get, aren't you? What have we survived by? Goal difference or a point?
Points, yeah.
We survived by a point. So there's no bigger warning shot than if you rest on your laurels. There's teams after you, some very good teams at this level. And we know fine well there's good teams coming up, a very good team from down the road. So we've got to be better. We know it, and we will be.
Yeah, and on that as well, I obviously mentioned about Redcar Athletic there. Some big games looking at Bury. I think they've been promoted as well. So that's the sort of fixture you're going to look out for, and ultimately the games you want to be involved in.
Definitely, there'll be some massive fixtures, and we've just got to be better all over. We've got to train better, train harder. The dressing room's got to be better. The training's got to be better. We've got to be better. I've got to be better. All over. So that, like I say, it's a massive warning shot, but we've got to work with it just.
This is the Codcast.
That's Lee Bullock, Whitby Town joint manager. A job well done from him. And a job well done in the central defence. There are people playing through injury, including Frankie Whelan, who spoke to Paul after the final whistle.
Frankie, job done for Whitby Town, staying in the Northern Premier League, Premier Division with a hard-fought 0-0 this afternoon. Just first of all, your reaction.
Well, we've done it, didn't we? We got there in the end. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how we've done it. We've seen the season out. We're in the same league again next year.
Yeah, it's been a tough old season, particularly the second half of the campaign. But ultimately, it's fantastic to see the fight and the endeavour from everyone out there this afternoon.
Yeah, the lads have had it rough. Obviously, Lids going, Bully coming in, late notice. A lot of the lads leaving us in a little bit of a mess, but everyone has stuck together. A lot of them could have gave up, and they've all came together today when it mattered most, and seen us out.
Yeah, I mean, a credit to the sort of belief and the desire within the squad. It has been there over the season. It's certainly not been for a lack of trying, has it? But there's been a lot of moments that ultimately we can look back on now that, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter like they could have done.
Yeah, I think that's what the lads have been saying the past few weeks. There's been a lot of games where, as we're coming into this game, you think, oh, what if? And we've been let down by a daft late goal or something. But throughout the full season, bar the odd game, I don't think the lads have not gave 100% every time they came on the pitch. And it's just good to see that they've finally got the rewards for what they deserved and what they've been putting in the past few weeks.
And for yourself then, obviously we spoke about the sort of the desire and the effort. I mean, your hamstring must be about hanging off. You managed to patch yourself up and get yourself out there this afternoon.
Yeah, I think I've been constantly keeping in touch with Bully. If it was any other circumstance, you wouldn't have seen me on this pitch today. I think it went about 25 minutes in, and I've just done everything I could to stay on. and at least it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you were there, obviously at the back, just heading everything, kicking everything. I mean, it's been one of those seasons. Whitby haven't quite managed to get that settled defence, have they, between sort of yourself, Alex Nelson, and Nathan McGinley? But you've always made it work at some point.
Yeah, it's been off the cuff a lot of the time. There hasn't been, not like last year where it was me and Guinness, well, except Nelson's been fit all year, but me and Guinness have been going vice versa for injuries all season. So credit to Nels. As soon as either of us have came on, he's never complained, never put a foot wrong, except a few. I hope you can hear that now.
The Codcast, all things Whitby Town FC.
That's Frankie Whelan catching up with Paul in all the excitement and the melodrama. We saw grown men with tears in their eyes. Neil Ince, I think he was the goalkeeping coach. I think he was one of those that went through it. I could just see the look on his face with some of the brilliant pictures that Brian Murfield's put out there as well. I know we're very grateful to him and to Owen Cox as well, guys. But they've really captured the occasion, haven't they, Paul? There's some amazing snaps that are coming out.
Yeah, there is absolutely. You know, we're certainly we're blessed at the football club to have some brilliant photographers involved and capturing all of these moments. You know, Brian and Owen as well. They've done a great job over the course of the season. But yeah, you look at the photos and you can see everything that's good about yesterday in terms, obviously, the celebrations. Seeing all the kids just absolutely loving it, you know, getting their autographs, everything like that, photos with players. You know, it was absolutely brilliant to see all of that, and yeah, it's nice to see just happy faces around the ground. You know, it's been like we keep saying, it's been a long season, it's been a hard season, and it's probably not been enjoyable from many standpoints. But the one thing that has been consistent is the fact that the supporters have turned out every single week. You know, there's been so many fantastic crowds at the Thommo Express Stadium, at the Turnbull Ground. You know, and ultimately, you know, 670 there yesterday. You know, like, yeah, I mean, you can't fault that. People have come out and they've backed the lads, and yeah, to see those photos, everybody smiling, everybody happy, everybody celebrating. And to see the emotion of it all as well, you know, it's absolutely fantastic to see.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that. It's great. It looked like, I think they even managed to beg Nella's shirt off him and Frankie's, and I think they even got one lucky man got Shane Bland's gloves as well. So that's really good to see. Of course, they are the future of the club, the youngsters, and that kind of brings us on neatly, Liam, to what the club are trying to do in the community, aren't they? There's a lot more of a community focus. We've got Whitby Fishermen Society's under-16s playing their final game together at the Thommo Express Stadium this coming week. But there is a real drive, isn't there, from the club, Liam, to try and make a mark in the community.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a long way to go to get where I want to be. But, you know, yesterday felt significant, not just for us securing our league status, but it, you know, like Paul referenced there, all the kids getting involved, you know, the good crowd. I'd like to think it can maybe sort of use as a bit of a turning point for this football club now. You know, it has been a horrible season. We all know that. A number of issues on and off the pitch that we've had to deal with. But yeah, we're hoping with the new personnel coming in that we can really start to sort of build and redevelop the club, I guess. You know, albeit keeping a good core of that together as well. But like you say, you know, Fisherman's coming to play there on Tuesday night. It'd be great to get a decent crowd in for them. Free entry, so no reason not to go, really. You know, you've got that, and obviously the things we've been doing with St. Joe this season in terms of the free tickets for underprivileged families, which has gone down a treat, I understand. So, you know, that's great to see. And you know, really seeing all those kids there. I know there's a lot of plans in place. And actually as well, you know, the recent supporters club meet have actually had some sort of younger representatives come along to those as well, and actually
Brilliant.
putting their ideas forward, which is great. So, you know, there's plenty to really sort of look forward to now, hopefully. And you know, we've got a couple of months off. We'll be sort of getting plans sorted for next season. Season tickets hopefully being announced soon. The details on those, and a number of pre-season games, and obviously the player merry-go-round that will inevitably come. But then really sort of look forward to Gala Day, don't you? Which is always a a real community day. I think it's possibly the football tournament, particularly, is possibly going to be the biggest we've ever had. Having to start early for that one, so that'll be great as well. So yeah, hopefully we can really start sort of building now and trying to reshape the vision of the club, and most importantly, connecting with the community. I know there's a lot of exciting plans, so fingers crossed. Yesterday was sort of the start of that relationship, and trying to get back on side with the town, because we know all too well that things have happened and people have sort of fallen out of love with the club a bit. But hopefully we can start to turn that corner a bit now and really try to push forward with the club.
Yeah, well said. I think that's so important. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of maybe going back about maybe 10 years or so ago, maybe a little bit further back, Paul, where there were quite a few changes in the club. The old regime had moved out mainly, and we had a few more new faces, and there was a kind of a push for a bit more community engagement, I suppose I would say. There were school visits, things like that. And I think you were maybe involved with some of that as well. It's a real opportunity, isn't it, to get out there and bring the town together.
Yeah, I would say so, and I think this season just gone is a good sort of full stop, I would say, on the kind of, shall we say, the 2018 to 2026 sort of, I don't know, era time, shall we say. I think the season's probably been a rock bottom season, really. Off the pitch, there's been a lot of issues, and yeah, I think it's as good a time as any now to obviously address those. The club's very quickly sort of moving on to do so, and like Liam says, to redevelop the football club. Essentially, we've had a tough, hard year. We've said all along throughout it, we need more bodies, we need fresh blood coming into the football club, and now it's starting to come together at a pace, which is good. So I think putting the season as now a full stop, and this summer working on everything and getting the a new sort of community side and a new community sort of led football club that is properly run by its supporters and is supported off the field by its supporters as well, and that's not to have to complain at anybody at all, but we are seeing more people start to come forward and feel comfortable coming forward to help out. So that's going to be massive. And I think it'll be a really bright future for Whitby Town Football Club. The longer that goes on and the more it can develop within its community.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Of course, if you're listening to this and thinking, how can I get in touch? Go onto social media, go onto those usual routes, emails, etc., through the website, and have your voices heard. And we'll certainly keep you up to date throughout the summer. What's happening? Players moving, coming in, going out. Those friendlies, a bit of quizzing as well, and of course we'll bring you those interviews with new players as well as they happen. And yes, also we'll of course keep you up to date with when those supporters meetings are and all those different community events which are planned for coming months. So we will continue as always with the Codcast every week. But as far as the football's concerned for the next few months, there is going to be a little bit of a break, and I suppose this is as good a time as any to thank you for listening, but also to thank all the guests that we've had throughout the season. On this week's edition, to Frankie Whelan, to Lee Bullock, to Shane Bland, and of course to Paul Conley and Liam Ryder, who've worked tremendously hard throughout this past 9 months this season, and as they always do. So thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to you for listening. We will be back next week, but the Blues are staying up. Bye for now.